Hi, Total Recap here. Today we will be going through the events of the 1997 sci-fi action movie The Fifth Element, directed by Luc Besson. Now warning, this video contains spoilers, so watch at your own risk. Now let's get right into the movie. The story's premise is that every 5,000 years, in conjunction with a planetary arrangement, a great evil appears whose purpose is to destroy life. It's the year 1914. Professor Pacoli, along with his student Billy Masterson, are studying about the ruins of an old Egyptian temple. Pacoli discovers something strange written on the wall of the temple and tries to interpret it. He finds out that a great evil will attack upon Earth every 5,000 years, creating massive destruction with great life damage. The only thing that can stop the attack is a weapon which consists of 4 elements: water, fire, wind, earth, and a perfect being is the fifth element. Professor understands that the fifth element is the key but is unable to identify it. Meanwhile, a priest arrives in front of them, offering them a toast of poisoned water. Pacoli refuses to drink it, saying he would rather prefer to drink wine. At the same time, a massive spaceship lands on top of the pyramid. Then alien-like beings called Mondashawans emerge from it. The priest gasps in terror and tells Mondashawans that Pacoli was nearly about to discover the elements. The priest appears to be the Mondashawans' lone contact on Earth. They're here to remove the stones, including the fifth element, since war is coming and it's not safe on Earth. The Mondashawans deliver a key to the priest after removing the stones and a sarcophagus containing the fifth element. They also order him to carry the information about their mission down through future generations in preparation for the evil's approach. 300 years later, in 2263, the great evil appears in the form of a fiery planet. One of the battleships connected to the military and president analyzes the threat and plans to shoot missiles at the planet. Meanwhile, a priest named Vito Cornelius from the Secret Order intervenes and suggests not to shoot any missiles towards the fiery planet. The only way to save the Earth from evil is the unity of all 5 elements. However, the president dismisses his suggestion and orders to fire missiles. When the battleship fires missiles on the planet doubles in size and the missiles are directed back to the battleships, destroying it. In the next scene, we are introduced to Corbin Dallas, who is an ex-military man now working as a taxi driver. He lives in a capsule-like apartment with his cat. Right then, he gets a phone call from one of his friends named Finger, and from the conversation, we can say that they are planning to meet tonight. After that, Corbin takes out his taxi for the first drive of the day. On Earth, the world's president consults with his military and science advisors about the approaching planetoid. Cornelius also explains his theory and convinces the president to allow the Mondashawans to enter their territory, as they have all 5 elements which can save the Earth. When the Mondashawans attempt to deliver the elements back to Earth, they are ambushed by another alien race, the shape-shifting Mangalores. They also take the box containing the 4 elements. The president is informed that the stones are not at the crash site, but instead were given by the Mondashawans to someone they could trust, the diva Plava Laguna, who will be performing a musical show on the leisure planet Fhloston Paradise. Scientists are able to recover a portion of the fifth element from the crash site and use a reconstitution device to recreate it, whereupon it takes the form of a human woman named Leeloo, described as the perfect being and supposedly the fifth element. Leeloo, terrified of her unfamiliar surroundings, shouts out loud in an ancient language. When one of the generals tries to tap on the glass which traps her, she attacks him by breaking the glass and knocks him out. She escapes the scientists and crashes the roof of a cab belonging to taxi driver Corbin, a former major in the Federated Army Special Forces. Corbin checks out his surprising passenger and is immediately attracted towards her. She does not seem to understand the language but tries to ask for help. Sensing that she is in trouble, Corbin decides to protect her from the following police officers. After she utters the name of the priest Cornelius, Corbin drives her to Cornelius, the current guardian of the Mondashawans' knowledge. After reaching Cornelius, at first he refuses to help the girl. Later, when he notices a mark on the girl's hand, he is surprised to know that the girl is the fifth element and that he is searching for her. Wasting no time, Cornelius calls his assistant David and prepares to meet the fifth element. On the other hand, Corbin stares at the sleeping Leeloo and kisses her, to get a gun pointed at his forehead. He then apologizes to Leeloo and calms her down. Cornelius then provides the key to the tomb to Leeloo and orders Corbin to leave the place. In his apartment, Corbin calls his friend Finger and apologizes for not sticking to the plan of the meetup. He also eventually tells Finger about Leeloo. In the next scene, we see Leeloo getting knowledge of 5,000 years of history with the help of Cornelius' computer. Cornelius learns from Leeloo that the 4 elements were not held by the Mondashawans and that Leeloo must recover the stones from the diva. They track the person and find her present at the Fhloston Paradise and planet Fhloston. Meanwhile, the Mangalore's human connection, rich entrepreneur Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, has sought to get the stones as directed through communication with the Great Evil. With the Mangalores, he seeks to swap the 4 stones for valuable weaponry. When Zorg learns that the Mangalore's raid on the Mondashawans failed to regain the stones, he betrays and murders them, prompting the remaining Mangalores to seek vengeance and reclaim the stones for themselves. Cornelius is also taken by Zorg's men, although he is eventually set free after saving Zorg's life from choking upon a cherry. Zorg's men overhears a meeting with the president and gets the information that the Mondashawans have handed the stones to Plava Laguna, who is at Fhloston Paradise and is set to perform at a musical event. The president then orders to hire and deploy their best man, which appears to be Korben Dallas. Corbin is later met at his apartment by his General Monroe, who informs him that he has been drafted back into the army in order to travel to meet the diva, having rigged the annual Gemini croquet contest to allow Corbin to win. Their meeting is interrupted by the arrival of Cornelius and Leeloo. Corbin then manages to persuade military men to hide, saying that Leeloo is his girlfriend with whom he is planning to marry. Corbin, learning of Leeloo's need, offers to help but is knocked out by Cornelius, who steals his winning transportation tickets and departs. After gaining his consciousness, Corbin accepts the job from General Monroe and travels to John F. Kennedy International Airport, intercepting Cornelius, David, and Leeloo before they board their flight. He then escorts Leeloo inside. Elsewhere, the Mangalores and Zorg's assistant are rebuffed by the ticketing agent when they try to pose as Corbin. Cornelius instructs David to prepare the temple in Egypt and then sneaks aboard the passenger spaceplane before it leaves. Meanwhile, Zorg is contacted by Mr. Shadow from the fiery planet, who gives him an ultimatum to find the stones. On the flight, Corbin meets interstellar radio personality Ruby Rhod, who escorts him as the contest winner. Upon arrival at Fhloston Paradise, Leeloo is on her way to meet with Plava Laguna after she manages to track her. Diva also senses Leeloo's presence and orders one of her assistants to inform her to meet after the performance. Corbin is taken by Ruby to prepare for the show, while Leeloo waits near the diva's quarters in order to retrieve the stones from her after her performance. The performance starts as soon as Zorg arrives. During her performance, the Mangalores break into the diva's chamber and steal a box. Leeloo is witnessing all this and she decides to intervene with her martial arts skills. Just as Leeloo knocks out all the Mangalores and gets her hand upon the box, she is stopped by Zorg, armed with his gun. Zorg demands the box, after which Leeloo tosses it and escapes through a nearby air vent. Thinking that he has the box with the stones inside, Zorg plans to leave the hotel after planting a bomb. Here, the diva show is interrupted by the Mangalores and the diva is fatally shot. She falls in front of Corbin, who drags her and hides her under the chairs. Corbin learns from her dying words that the diva has hidden the stones inside her body and also asks him to help Leeloo to save humanity. After she dies, Corbin removes them from her abdomen, giving them to Ruby to hold as he defeats the Mangalores and saves the rest of the passengers and crew. The Mangalores fire back at Corbin and make him hide between the space at the bar. He is then captured by the Mangalores with his hands up. Right then, Corbin notices Ruby at the balcony and suggests she move to the side. Corbin then jumps on a plank, tossing the alien's head through Ruby's balcony. When Ruby holds his head, the alien panics and fires at his companions. After that, Corbin and Ruby make their way to the control room where the Mangalores have captured Cornelius and other people. As Corbin fires at the alien crew, he notices the leader of the crew. Corbin deduces that if the leader of the Mangalores is killed, then no Mangalores will fight with them. Meanwhile, the leader asks to send some humans to negotiate with them. Taking this as an opportunity, Corbin emerges and swiftly kills the leader with just one shot. In the next scene, we see the hotel back in the humans' control. When Corbin goes over to recover Leeloo, Zorg finds the case to be empty. Cornelius and Ruby also discover the bomb planted by Zorg. The security alarm goes off and the guests are immediately evacuated from the hotel. Zorg re-enters the liner just as Corbin, Leeloo, Cornelius, and Ruby leave it on Zorg's ship while the rest of the passengers escape in the liner's emergency craft. Zorg is able to stop his bomb, but the defeated Mangalores activate another bomb, destroying Zorg and the liner. Corbin, Leeloo, Cornelius, and Ruby hardly manage to escape through the explosion in a stolen ship. On their way towards Earth, Leeloo gains consciousness and talks with Corbin about the strangeness of humans and their behavior. Corbin gets an ultimatum from the president informing them that they have only 2 hours to stop the fiery planet that could wipe out humanity. Leeloo gets knowledge about the violent human wars and is shocked to how she is trying to save a race causing so much destruction amongst themselves. The four return to the temple on Earth as the great evil rushes towards the planet. There, Corbin finds Leeloo disillusioned and unwilling to perform her role, believing that humans will destroy themselves despite her rescue of them. As the protagonists arrange the stones in the temple to form their weapon, they are briefly baffled by their ignorance of the weapon's operation. Corbin tries to ask Leeloo about how to activate the weapon, but only gets a cryptic answer from her. They later learn that the presence of the classical element to which each stone belongs triggers it. After all the elements are revealed, Corbin persuades Leeloo to play her part. He then embraces and kisses her and tells her that the world has to be protected for things like love. As the burning planet approaches Earth, rays of light erupt from each of the stones and strike Leeloo. Leeloo then activates the weapon's divine light, which transforms the great evil into a new moon in Earth's orbit. In the last scene, despite the president's statement that he is in a hurry, the president and General Monroe travel to the Reconstitution Lab to congratulate Corbin on his successful mission, but he and Leeloo are unavailable. Later, it is shown that Corbin and Leeloo are kissing in the Resurrection Chamber. And that was my recap of the movie. Hope you enjoyed it. Now comment on what your favorite part was and make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, take care and goodbye.